So we've come to the Khalil As-Saud market and we've found some freshwater fish. Shane, our field scientist, is going to dissect the fish and tell us a little bit about it.
Great. So, we've got our fish here. Next thing is to start talking you through the equipment we're going to be using for this.
Yeah.
Right? So, first thing we need, we can't work on this wooden surface. It's nice and hard and flat and stable, but it's not clean. What I have here is something nice and clean. Okay?
How convenient.
How convenient. We've got some 76% ethanol, 76% alcohol, and the rest is water. So that's very, very strong alcohol. That's going to kill most bacteria, most fungus, most viruses on that plate. Might even rub my hands with this too.
Good idea.
Yeah, no harm. The next piece of equipment, any good biologist, any good anatomist worth their salt, has a dissection kit. So this is our dissection kit. We've got forceps.
Yeah.
We've got a fine forceps. We've got a coarse forceps.
Okay.
We've got two probes. Quite
Okay.
sharp pointed probes.
Yeah.
They're for looking at internal anatomy a bit more closely.
Okay.
They're for holding bits back when you're looking inside.
Yeah.
In addition, we've got some very, very sharp and very rugged scissors. They can go through bone of a certain dimension. And then most importantly, for any anatomist, is this. So that's our bare scalpel handle.
Okay.
Doesn't become a scalpel until we put a scalpel blade on it. A surgical blade. Carbon steel, very, very hard.
sharp.
And as a result, very sharp.
Do we need to cut this up to learn about it, or can we learn anything from a fish looking at it as it is?
Okay, well we could go diving in, right?
Yeah.
We can learn an awful lot more about an animal before we even go inside it.
Okay.
We can learn about how that animal moves, how an animal breathes,
Yeah.
maybe what even the animal eats from its mouth parts. Okay?
How does a fish breathe?
Okay, how does a fish breathe?
Yeah.
Okay, well first of all, it doesn't have lungs.
True.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you have air coming in and out, your buoyancy is going to change. You're going to go up, you're going to go down.
Okay.
So fish don't do that.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of oxygen in water as well.
Right.
Nowhere near as much as there is in air, the air that we breathe. Fish breathe water. They breathe the water through their mouth,
Yeah.
and it comes out their gills.
The gills.
Okay.
So the gills are like their lungs.
Exactly. Gills are like their lungs.
Okay.
They're a very, very fine structure, and as the water passes over them, the oxygen is taken from that water. Okay?
Right. Okay.
So if you look at the colour of these gills, they're bright red.
Yeah, they are.
Just like our blood is bright red.
Yeah.
And that tells you that there's an awful lot of iron in those gills. Because iron is what binds the oxygen in our blood.
Okay. So it says it's fresh.
It says it's fresh.
Right.
It also says this bit of the fish is something to do with oxygen.
So Shane, can you talk me through the fins on this fish?
Great, okay, so you've noticed this fish has a lot of fins, right? First of all, right here, this is our pectoral fin, like your pecs are right there, okay?
Yeah.
Here we've got our pelvic fin, which is
Okay.
attached to the animal's pelvis right here.
Right.
We've got our caudal fin down here.
Okay,
That's the
at
very
the back.
back of the fish here.
Yeah.
We've got our anal fin just here.
Okay, right next to the anus.
The anus, right next to the
Okay.
anus, exactly. And right up on the top here, we've got our dorsal fin.
Ouch, wow. Those are like weapons.
Exactly, and that's what they're used for sometimes. So for protection, you won't often see them upright like that in the wild. They'll mainly be down like that because if you have them upright, they're not very aerodynamic. They're not very aerodynamic.
So they're just used for protection.
Yeah, and a bit of stability too.
Okay. Can you tell me, is there anything else we need to look at before we cut it up?
Yeah, okay, one more thing before we go diving.
What's that?
And that's the mouth parts. So with any animal, you can tell an awful lot about its ecology, what it eats from the mouth parts.
What can we tell?
Okay, well if you were a horse, you'd have flat teeth for grinding plant material. If you're a lion, you have sharp teeth for tearing flesh and swallowing.
Sure.
So what do you reckon?
They're not sharp teeth. It's not like a shark's sharp teeth. So I'm gonna say that they eat little plants and maybe little things floating around.
Exactly. So this animal does not eat fish. It is not a predator.
Yeah.
This animal is a herbivore.
Okay.
Mainly a herbivore. It might take the odd
Yeah.
small insect if it can get it.
Okay.
But mainly it's going to eat plant material.
Okay.
Algae or plants growing in the water, floating in the water, floating on top of the water. This is an African fish.
Okay.
And it's called a tilapia. Hard to tell the species from this,
Okay.
but I think it might be a Nile tilapia. They have evolved in the various Great Lakes of Africa in the large rivers like the Nile.
Okay.
They're from the family of fish called the cichlid fish, but they're not native to Jordan.
So what's an African fish doing in Jordan?
Okay, the tilapia is here in Jordan because of a few reasons. First of all, it's very, very tolerant of poor water quality. It can get along with silty water, it can get along with water that doesn't have much oxygen in it.
Okay.
It grows very fast, And like we heard, it doesn't need big animal prey to survive. It can survive on small little animal larvae, it can survive on plant material. So in a lake that might not have much other life, the tilapia can still survive.
Is it kind of like the chicken of the fish world?
Exactly, bang on. So because the tilapia grows so fast, you can raise it very, very quickly in small environments with very few resources. You can breed them really quickly. You can farm tilapia very quickly. So you're exactly right, they're the chicken of the fish world.
It sounds like a great fish. Is there any issues with taking a fish from Africa and then bringing it to Jordan and introducing it into an ecosystem here?
Exactly, you're right. So because this is such a great generalist fish, it can do lots of different things in the water bodies of Jordan, of wherever you introduce it to. So it outcompetes the native species. That delicate balance that's been evolving for millions of years in a place like Jordan, for example, is disturbed because of an invasive alien species like this.
How does it disturb the delicate balance?
Well, it eats all of that plant material in a lake. That means that the smaller fish don't have a food source. If it eats all of the insect larvae in that lake, it means the medium-sized fish don't have a food source. So it's not necessarily eating the native fish, but it's doing them out of a dinner.